West Nile TV. Meyuder Ingomwa.
Welcome, and of course, full of Derby Day. Today is Saturday edition of the Sports and the Whistle Time right on West Nile TV. My name is Owen Fudribo Ezaga, that's my name, and I want to say it's interestingly, East African Derby is one of the biggest. I could be talking about international derby. The Manchester Derby is one of the biggest you would be talking about. Of course, coaches have also come on there now. One of the breaking news that came yesterday was, and the biggest was the agreement in there. But of course, for today, this morning, the biggest breaking news is that, of course, Barcelona Football Club, or Barcelona, you could call Barcelona, I don't know, any you call, have, of course, announced that the man by the names of Xavi will be, or Xavi Hernandez will be their new head coach in there. And of course, in that is the 48 hours he will be flying to, that is Catalonia. And that is the report coming in from the Italian journalist Fabrizio Romano. But of course, turning the twist away from there, it is also another big one. I want us to start with Oscar from Uganda. Now, in Uganda, you did see Gaddafi Football Club unveil one of, that is the coaches, or the renowned coaches. I'm talking about Peter Onen, who has been unveiled as the new head coach of Gaddafi Football Club. Of course, his first game will be against Arua Hill Sports Club in there, and he is unveiled as the new head coach of Gaddafi Football Club. What are we going to see from the former Laidi College head coach? Talk about Bull Football Club head coach.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here again and to talk about tacticians. Sometimes I have a lot of reservations because I have my different ways of judging who a good coach is and how far he can take a team. And of course, coming up against Arua Hill, and then I don't know how much he has been training with
just come
with the team, and just like Eddie Howe, who might also be on the touchline
today
for Newcastle, and him coming up Gaddafi up against Arua. I thought one of the other things that really Gaddafi is one of the teams in Uganda Premier League that has money. The Soldier Boys, can repeat again, they have the money. I don't know whether the Arua Hill money can even equate to that one of Gaddafi. But those guys have the money. They have the state money. So what are you going to do about it? So Peter Onen is coming in at a time when this team needs to be revived. They need to get back to winning ways as soon as possible. And then this team will not be entertaining a slow start. This team as well will have the money at his disposal, but unfortunately for him, he needs to wait until it gets to January for him to start making signings again. And in Ugandan league, most coaches wait for players who are free on a free transfer to negotiate, maybe to go and buy Mohamed Shaban. I have not seen that happening in Ugandan league. They wait until at the end of the season to start luring players with sign-on fees. But I want to see how best Peter Onen can get it. He had a good start with Bull in the previous season where he was still. At one point, even Bull was at the summit of the table. Everyone thought Bull was going to get somewhere. But I think along the way, something did not happen right. However, I think it's still going to be a bit of a challenge for him, especially getting back, like starting winning ways. But true, I think being at home would also help him further. Because we've seen Arua Hill has also not been doing well when it gets to away. Maybe this will be the time they would think of getting something. But what strategy can Peter Onen get into this game against Arua Hill? And again, I would love to see the best of Babazi. The game against Yora A was to me much as the team came back. But again, I shouldn't attribute that to luck as well. They were very lucky on the night. Otherwise, they didn't play the best football. But again, I noticed that they were committed and they got the results their way. So Peter Onen coming is a good thing. I should say welcome back to Uganda Premier League. But can he get Bull to the winning, not Bull, Gaddafi to the winning ways, the way they actually expected to have started the league? That's what I'm waiting to see.
Now, of course, a very big one, and that is happening probably, and you could be seeing this happen. Now, Peter Nain, with his move, very many teams have always come. Onduparaka came for his service, of course, services. He's one coach who loves behaving professional. And Royal Sports Club, when that saga of Mbabazi, Uganda Cranes here and there, that of course they also almost went for him. Now this time round, he is coming probably in the Gaddafi team. You said you have your reservation for coaches. Do you see him change anything with the previous records that he has done in there?
Well, I would see that basing on two factors. One, the time that timing. If he had probably taken over at the start of the season, it would be a good thing. It would make him to get to have his, to first of all spot whether the players they have now could actually adopt to his style of play, and if there are those that he needs to bring in, he could actually do that. I think he's a CAF A licensed coach,
yeah.
So he has had a lot of experience in the league. At one point, even before taking charge as the head coach at Bull, he was assistant. He was an assistant coach, and then later on they trusted him with that. He was at one point the national team coach for the under-17. So I think he has had a lot of experience with him. But all in all, for me, I think it will be coming. He can change something, yes, as a coach, but I don't think it may come too soon, especially with the game against Araya.
Now, it's one of the biggest things we're seeing at Gaddafi Football Club. Yes, they're not doing all that bad, but of course they are doing a little bit bad according to what is expected from them, and it's yet just 5 games, so you can determine something there. But of course, let's move away from there. It's one of the biggest games that went on yesterday in the Uganda Premier League, where Toro United, who were of course on top of Busoga, and we did talk about that game in length yesterday, that Busoga could get their win today, yesterday against that is the team of Toro United, and indeed they got the game, and the goal was scored by Ntege Anwar, who of course got that goal for them, 3 goals to 1, and that's another interesting moment for Busoga United. They could be one of the happiest. They had only 3 points. Now this makes them go. Go to 6 points. Of course, after winning that, where do you see Busoga? Are they improving every time and now with all what is coming in there? Ntege, of course, has been one of the key names. He played 4 games, scored 3 goals. Now with that, the 5th game he has played, he has got 5 goals to his name.
Well, Busoga United. I think they're really picking up. I expected that they were going to win the game yesterday. I was looking at Toro United. I didn't see much from Toro. The team, I think even their start at the end of their slow start to the kickoff of the season will show it all that this is a team that is yet lacking a lot. We have always said this. It comes down to planning. How do these teams plan off season? Because if you're already at that level, and if you notice you don't have the money, you have the whole season, till the end of last season, then to the start of this season. That was enough time for a club to start planning in terms of human resource, in terms of getting a sponsor, in terms of raising revenue. How much have they been doing? Because you expect a team, when you're coming to the season, at least you should not be talking about struggling financially. It might be there, but at least not so much that you can't pay salaries, not so much that you can't attract good players. Then how much have they been doing with the youth system? Sometimes when you don't need to always spend every season. You need to graduate some players into that team. And that means your recruitment into the junior team should be every season, every day that you're playing a game, or everywhere that you should be able to be spotting talents and attracting these ones. Use every avenue to come, so that at one point you also think of also selling. I love the strategy Ajax have always been using. Every season there are a new crop of players coming, and they may only just take 2 seasons in the club, establish themselves, they sell them away. But you will not see Ajax dropping down They'll always, either if they don't finish number one, they're either number two. But most preferably, they'll always be dominating because they have a good system of transition. We get these players, they don't even the bigs, the Matai Delights, all those ones. When you get them, they shine for 1-2 seasons in the league. Probably get a very good time in the UEFA Champions League. That's the biggest stage where you can showcase your talent. They sell them away, and then after there are other crops of players who are actually coming. At the end of the day, their guarantee in raising revenue is there, and again in giving out talents, exposing talents is there. So a youngster would feel so much to start even playing, even if I'm not going to earn, but I know when I play for Ajax, I am going to go somewhere. I just need 1 or 2 seasons to shine. Probably I can get those big career moves I want. I want to go to Madrid, I want to go to Chelsea, I want to come to United. That is where I will get it. And whatever happens there, it's not a big problem for them. You can even decide to go back when you shine again. They send you to another club. So I think that's one of the models that clubs in Uganda needs to adopt for them to have continuity. I thought one club used to have it, Arua Central, that was sold, but they had a very good strategy. Just relying on local players, you groom them, you put them so much in that philosophy of that style of play you want them to actually adopt in. They play very well. At the end of the day, I thought if Arua Central could live up to this time, I think all the clubs in the world, even in Africa, will be looking at coming to Arua Central to pick players.
Of course, that's one of the biggest things you could be talking about. But of course, let's move away from there. We take a break. We'll be coming back to give you international stories that will be in, of course, the European sports, and a couple of stories that are coming in there. A couple of games are coming at 3:30. You have Manchester Derby at Manchester, and that's one of the biggest. But of course, today you also have match day 4 of that is the Sekafa Women's Under 20 Championship, and Uganda 2021 gets in there. So you could be talking about some of the games that are there, and I'm talking about the East African Derby. Now, Burundi will be taking on Ethiopia, and Eritrea welcomes Djibouti, and then Uganda welcomes Tanzania. Those are the games that will be coming right today, and all these games will be at 4 p.m. for Uganda at Njeru, and then of course for that is Eritrea and Djibouti will be at 1:30 p.m. and that will be also another big one at Njeru. Then at the same time you have Burundi taking on Ethiopia at Njeru at 10:30 a.m. this morning, and that's where we'll be giving you all the updates that will be coming up right there. Then of course, leaving that there, let's take a break, and we will be coming back to give you the international stories. This is West Nile TV. It's the whistle time, and we are lighting up the region.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Welcome back from that break, and I want to say let's cross straight to the international stories, and one of the biggest is that of course the man Xavi Hernandez finally is the head coach or the manager of Barcelona Football Club. Barcelona Football Club just lost or sacked their coach, and they have been on interim basis. Probably right now the team is well prepared to welcome Xavi in the next 48 hours that he will be coming into the team. What do you expect from this former player of Barcelona Football Club?
Well, it has always been a trend that teams like Barcelona have always been looking at their own, and those results have actually been coming. I said this some time back that way back when Barcelona thought of having their own late Johan Cruyff, it worked out for them. He won the Champions League both as a manager, as a player, and as a manager. And then by then he had very good crop of players that he developed by himself. He had the likes of, in the midfield, he had a partnership of Michael Laudrup and Pep Guardiola, and that was the golden generation to me. They really did their best by then. Before Michael Laudrup left Barcelona to come to the arch rivals Real Madrid, and the same thing also happened when Luis Figo also left Barcelona to come to Madrid. But leaving that aside, I think after there, Barcelona didn't so much believe that they could also still have achieved success with their very own. Not until when Frank Rijkaard was sacked and immediately Pep Guardiola actually came in his place. And Pep Guardiola did tremendously very well. And since then, I thought Barcelona have struggled ever since Pep Guardiola left to find who could actually fill the void, who could carry on with the tradition of the club. I think the tradition that Johan Cruyff, the late, actually set was to play that 4-3-3 style, like how they tiki-taka. The Catalonia has actually been a hub of having players who could play the best brand of football, and that's what Barcelona were actually known for. Ever since Rijkaard, ever since Guardiola left, I think Barcelona's really struggled. We saw the likes of. They also went for their former Luis Enrique, but Luis Enrique's reign didn't yield so much for me. There was late Tata Martino. He's also didn't do much for me. But also when you leave others and you come to Ronald Koeman, you would ask yourself, why of all people did Barcelona go for Ronald Koeman? Ronald Koeman was not, in his coaching career, I've never fancied that Ronald Koeman would be entrusted with such a big club like Barcelona. I would not even, if you try to compare, I don't even think that, I'd rather look at Mauricio Sarri than to think of looking at Ronald Koeman. Mauricio Sarri as well believes in that Pep Guardiola brand of play. That's why at Chelsea, he would basically play 4-3-3. And he aims at playing that attractive style of football and playing of course, also trying to see how we can absorb the young players into the team. Now, I was expecting, since Barcelona was looking at a post-Messi era, how would life be after the likes of Messi? Because look at the likes of the Iniestas, the Xavis had left. You look at the likes of Charles Puyol, they had gone. The likes of Enrique Abidal, he's there in this position of a sporting director. You look at the likes of Dani Alves, the likes of Thierry Henry have also gone. You look at the likes of David Villa had already left. The likes of Ibrahim Afellay, Bojan Kirkic, who came to Stoke City. You would expect that Barcelona could have been absorbing some talent in the game. At one point, I think also keeping Messi for so long in the team played to their disadvantage, because right now they're struggling to see who could come into the team. You couldn't believe that now a player who was a flop at United tried to do something a little bit at Olympique Lyon, and now at Barcelona, that is Memphis Depay is the one that Barcelona is actually relying on. You could actually hardly think of an issue like that. And now you find they have brought in a 33-year-old, in fact, let me even say a 34-year-old, in the names of Sergio Kun Aguero, is the one you're signing into the team. Then you ask yourself, what are you thinking of? A 33-year-old doesn't make any sense. He's not that he's a bad player, but I expected Barcelona to be going for better players, players whom they can pick on, and then actually get to take them further. The players that most of the coaches at Barcelona had been recycling had been players that were started under the project of the other man, Frank Rijkaard, because he had the likes of Ronaldinho. But it kept on, and the players were made better under under Pep Guardiola, because he had Sergio Busquets in the midfield. And then, of course, would have. I remember by then when he signed Cesc Fabregas, he would put in the midfield to have three. Will have Sergio Busquets, and then Xavi, who's the captain. Then on the other side is Cesc Fabregas. Mostly, he used to push. In fact, to push the other player was the other partner of Xavi, Andre Iniesta, who pushed in the front three, mostly in the left hand side, and then on the other side would either have David Villa, or by then would used to have Pedro, and then we'll have Messi as the false nine. But these are the players that most coaches kept on recycling, because they just believe that those are the best players. Even if you brought in some other players, they may not be as effective as they were, and that to me also played to their disadvantage, because they couldn't think of that transition later on that it should come. The Messis were introduced slowly under Pep Guardiola. He believed that Messi was actually, he would rather have Messi than have Ronaldinho. That's why he let Ronaldinho leave. Ronaldinho actually went to AC Milan. So all in all, I think that Xavi will have a big mountain to climb. There's yet a lot for Xavi to accomplish at Barcelona, coupled with the fact that where he's speaking Barcelona form, and can he bring the lost glory of Barcelona is one of the biggest things that he will actually be charged with. Then you look at the prospects, the young prospects within. Barcelona are going to be aiming at buying players, those big stars, at least to absorb them in the team. But also you have to put in mind that right now, in La Liga, there is that financial fair play rule that is scaring most of the stars from going there. So the best thing for them to do is to start building their own.
So how the La Masia Academy?
Yes. So how much time do they have? And remember, in this, you also need to still compete for the La Liga. You need to compete for Champions League, and you need to also have players who could actually. From whom you could actually also benefit in terms of revenue, the shirt sales, the image rights. These are the type of players you need to attract, but you ask yourself, do they have it now in their team? Real Madrid is getting stronger. Atletico Madrid is getting stronger. You even find right now a team like Villarreal is getting stronger. Real Sociedad is getting stronger. So where does that leave Barcelona?
Now, of course, that's where, of course, it comes. But, of course, he is going to be the manager. I'm talking about the man by the names of Xavi Hernandez, of course, in the team. Leaving that there, let's cross to the Manchester derby. And, of course, Old Trafford plays that host to the highly anticipated Manchester derby. That is where, of course, it's going to be a lunchtime probably for the team's lunchtime game, or for those who take it early, because some people take lunch at 10, at 11 in Arua here, and the rest.
No, some others even in the morning, what they do, they just at 8.
Therefore,
Enyasa. At 1. No, at even 11. They are going for.
I was disappointed.
No, in Paida, they call it what? Lion.
I was disappointed that when I went to Paida and food was not ready by that time.
You only had one thing in mind. You're expecting. Okay, they used to call it Marara. Now here, I understand you guys call it Zanyiri. There again, they are modernizing. They call it Layo. But here, Layo is something different. But anyway,
it's a 2 places and 3 points separates Manchester United and Man City. If Manchester United wins this game today, they become level with Manchester City. If they don't win, they go 6 points adrift Manchester City. And this is the game that comes right today, Mr. Oscar. It's a very big game. Ole is on pressure. Calm is the man by the names of Pep Guardiola, but of course he also said he is on pressure because he needs to deliver, see that he needs to go where. Of course, you watched some of his pre-match conference in there. Now, let's talk about this very game. Where do you see big names not in the team? Paul Pogba is one name for Manchester United who
I think he's having that
red card.
Yes.
And then Edison Cavani has a tendon injury. He's not going to be in the team according to reports coming in from the Uruguayan journalist. And then you have names like Rafael Varane for Manchester United, who will not be right there probably. And then for Team Man City, a couple of names you could talk about. One of them is the man by the names of Kevin De Bruyne. Is doubtful. You have Kyle Walker, who who probably is also another doubt who could not be playing this game. Emerick Laporte is another name who is also having a little bit of doubt he may not be in this game. So in case all these players don't come into the game, and you have the team news that shows that very many names could be coming in there, what do you anticipate this game like?
Well, I anticipate a very big game at the Theatre of Dreams. A game that is full of tactics, a game that is full of excitement, a game that is full of entertainment is what I'll be expecting to see. My other expectations was to see the likes of Kevin De Bruyne in the game. I want to see Paul Pogba in the game. I want people to watch, people to judge. Many other soccer pundits, those who are allegedly Man United fans, I've always been thinking that Paul Pogba is the best and the most complete midfielder in the world. And I've always stood my ground to say it's a lie. Because a good midfielder, one that you rate to be the best in the world, should be consistent. Should not just be having a one-off, a one-hit wonder. Today plays a good game, you take to see that 2-3 games later, that's when you want to see the best out of him. That's not the type of player who can be the best in the world. The others, to me, I've always been saying that players that I know have always actually been the best that I could rate at that level would be the likes of Kevin De Bruyne, would be the likes of Luka Modric, because they're always consistent. The likes of Cesc Fabregas, they had always had that consistency in the game. But when you get to Manchester United, I understand and I acknowledge that Paul Pogba has the skills. Paul Pogba has the physique. Paul Pogba has the good ball passing abilities. He knows how he can pick his teammates, short, long-range passes, and he knows how to position himself when receiving the ball, and of course how to turn when he gets. So many things that you can say good about him. But what can bring this all together is your consistency at top level. When you're playing a big game like this, you need to be consistent. Now, I'm also not going to be happy if KDB is not going to play. Of course, there will be some reasons beyond him. And of course, Kyle Walker not to have him in the game would be a blow. Who's one of the most consistent players that I've seen around. Emerick Laporte not to have it in the game would also be a blow. That means that Manchester City would actually have to play with Nathan Ake and John Stones in the centre-back position. But still, coming to this, it gives for Ole now, I will expect not having Cavani in the team will be a blow, because where you would see Cristiano Ronaldo, you see Cavani, it can be a good thing to add the flavor, because these are players who all have eye for goal. That means that you have to be drafting in some other players. Could you be seeing if he's to play in his 4-2-3-1? Maybe we would see in the pivot 2, if Paul Pogba is not going to be there. I don't know if he's going to still stick to the same philosophy with the approach that he had against Liverpool. He played a 4-2-3-1, but in the pivot 2 he had Scott McTominay and Fred
Dos Santos.
I still get a little worried, because Manchester City equally pass the ball as good as Liverpool, and sometimes even better than Liverpool. But if you're going to go with a pivot 2 that has 2 defensive-minded players, that means you're always going to go with the mentality of that transition in the lower block is just to be all about defending. But that might affect transition in the attack. I would think that it would be the best thing for him to do to start a big player in that big game. I would think Nemanja Matic should come in that game, to start that game, to be the deep line playmaker himself. And possibly now he can make do. I would also think this is the best time to challenge Donny van de Beek, to give him that game playing time, because he would be forced to give his best. He will know that the players are watching him, the coaches are watching him. He needs to actually,
the world is watching.
The world is watching. Can he prove himself in a big game? I think that this will be the game. Then in the midfield 3, I would expect Bruno Fernandes as usual, and I still want to see Mason Greenwood get to the right hand side. To the left hand side, I'd love to see him draft not Cristiano Ronaldo. Cristiano Ronaldo will be the target man.
Rashford?
I would want to see him draft Marcus Rashford because of his work rate. Though these two young players have a weakness in defense, they're not so much a drop deep kind of wingers who drop deep to help the fullbacks. It is at least fair with Greenwood, but with Marcus Rashford, I'm not so quite convinced with him. So I would love to see that in case he decides to go for a back three. But again, at the back, the centre backs. Harry Maguire has been awful. He was awful against Zapata in the midfield. I mean, in the UEFA Champions League. So I would expect maybe, but because he's a captain, they will actually be forced to use him. And then maybe they can partner him. I thought his partner could be with the Victor
Lindelof. He has a doubt, but of course he could pass late fitness today.
So that means Eric Bailly. He had a great game, by the way. I'll be forced to play with Eric Bailly. To be obvious to have.
By the way, there are two players who could come in the game. Maybe when things happen. One of them for Man City is Kevin De Bruyne. He could pass late fitness, and then Ferran Torres totally will not be in the game. For Manchester United, names like Lindelof could pass late fitness and come in the game, according to reports coming just right here in there. So some of the total players you would not expect, even Cavani himself could pass late fitness, according to the reports coming in. So those are some of the players you could either expect or not. So they are either doubtful or when they are assessed fit, they could come in the game.
One of the other things that Manchester City will go with in their approach, since they didn't have a top target man, they wanted to have Harry Kane in the team. They couldn't get him. So one of the things that I know they will do is always to go as usual, not to go with a direct centre forward. They will choose to have Gabriel Jesus on the flanks. Then maybe they have to push Phil Foden up.
Remember, Sterling and Jack Grealish have not got any any goal in the 23 games they have played against Manchester United. Don't you think this will also be their time to prove to the world that they need to score against Manchester United? Yeah,
they will have to. But again, another player that may not miss that game is going to be Phil Foden. With his that mentality of Pep Guardiola, that needs to approach the game with the false nine. So we might force to have Phil Foden. And Phil Foden will be a direct player who will drop deep in the midfield, pick the balls. But again, they still have options. Even either on the flanks, they can go with Jesus. They can, on the other side, maybe decide to go with Riyad Mahrez or Bernard Silva. And if without Silva as well, they can still have options. They have in the midfield as well. Of course, I would fancy them going for Rodrigo as a deep lying playmaker. And then have Kevin De Bruyne if past fit. Of course, I would fancy that he should captain the team. Aymeric Laporte, yes, can play if past fit, but if he's not past fit, then I would think they can go for Nathan Ake, or they even go for John Stones. Alexander Zinchenko as well can start on the left-hand side. If Benjamin Mendy clears off his issue for the court, for sexual assault, but I fancy he may not even actually play in the game. All in all, Manchester City will approach the game with a false nine, and they will look at dominating possession and creating more chances to get advantage over United.
Now, a couple of games that will be coming in the English Premier League. One of the biggest is Manchester United and Man City. That Manchester derby that comes at 3:30. It's a very big game that you really don't need to miss. And you have Brentford taking on Norwich City. That game will be coming at 6. And Chelsea takes on Burnley at 6. And not forgetting Crystal Palace against Wolves 6 p.m. and not forgetting Brighton and Hove Albion against the Newcastle, probably the rebrander of the new taken over team Newcastle at 8:30. I will have to watch that game and see what exactly Newcastle will be like. That's one of the biggest things someone will be waiting to see. But of course, we will just be saying, wrapping this up in a style. What is your prediction like for today's game, Manchester United?
Well,
and Man City.
Unfortunately enough, for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he has had a better statistics against Pep Guardiola.
Of course, if you look at the two head-to-head, Manchester United has won 77 over the derby, and 55 is what Manchester City has also got in there to win. So Manchester United still looks better, but of course, would they keep that?
They have the last 8 games that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has played against Pep Guardiola. He has actually won 4 straight wins. So with some other few draws, that means Pep Guardiola has not had a very, very great game, especially against Ole. But again, Ole Gunnar Pep Guardiola is coming into this game having lost to Crystal Palace. So he would need to bounce back to win. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is under pressure, having lost 5-0 at Old Trafford against Liverpool, got a draw against Atlanta. He would probably need to win against Manchester City. So the game is too tense that you really can feel the heat, you can feel the excitement. But in my assessment, I am seeing this. If Manchester United is to approach the game with a double pivot, just like the way they played the other time, I am seeing Man United losing the game. But if they are to approach the game being on a front foot, they want to be in the attack, going all guns out, Manchester United can actually get something in the game. So I am seeing it's going to be dependent on how the midfield is going to be for United. If the midfield is going to be convincing, United will lose the game. If the midfield is going to be strong to shield off the transitions from midfield to attack for Manchester City, and then...
How tense is the game? Hotter than the Marua Hill on Duparaka or... That's one big thing we want to say, but of course we're saying our time is really low, and we are going to be stopping it from here. A lot of stories that we'll be talking about, but of course time is not our best ally. And I want to say thank you so much for watching West Nile TV, and we are streaming live on our YouTube channel. You can always drop your comments right below on that is the comment box, and you will be part of us. Will be getting straight to your questions and the answers that you really pose right there. For those who are watching, endeavor always to also subscribe. For those who have not, if you're catching us for the first time, you can subscribe on our YouTube channel so that you get all the notifications of the Whistle Time and other, of course, programs right here. And once again, thank you so much for viewing, and thank you so much for always keeping it West Nile TV. This has been the Whistle Timers, and we are saying at West Nile TV, we light up the region.